What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Playbook Sports Podcast. This is Nate coming at you guys. Obviously, this video is going to be a little bit different as what I kind of figured would happen happened. We did have our baby, so I'm doing this from the hospital. The grind never stops. It never ever stops, and it's playoffs, so of course I've got to get this one out. We're doing the Miami Dolphins preview video today. This one will be short and sweet because not a whole lot that can be said that hasn't already been said. Obviously, these two teams played earlier this season over in Germany. It's a 14-21 final. Chiefs getting the win in a game of two halves. Obviously, the Chiefs scored 21 in the first half, Dolphins 14 in the second half, and both teams were shut out in their other respective halves. Really a game that came down to one mistake, and that was unfortunately the Tyreek Hill scoop and score for the Chiefs, where it was a screen pass to Tyreek. Got hit pretty quickly. You could argue that he never really had possession, made a football move, so it should have been a fumble or an incomplete pass. But either way, it was called a fumble on the field. They let it play out, which I like that. I prefer they did that every time. It's going to be reviewed. You may as well let it play out instead of call it dead right away. Then a team has to challenge. I could talk about that all day. But it was a game where neither team really made any big crucial mistakes outside of that one. It was just kind of one of those weird defensive battles when you expect it to be high scoring. You know, when the NFL put us in Germany against them, they're thinking we're looking at like a 45-41 final, and instead we get a 21-14 final. But the two teams are obviously different teams now than they were then. Obviously, Dolphins were 6-3, Chiefs were then 7-2. Both teams were fighting for the 1 seed, and now they're the 3 seed and the 6 seed. So it's going to be a good game, and the weather is going to be absolutely miserable. They're calling for wind chills of negative 30 degrees. Game time temperature is going to be hovering right around 0 to -5, not including the wind chill, and then you have the wind chill effect. It is going to be frigidly cold, and it reminds me, strictly temperature-wise, reminds me of the Dolphins playoff game in 2017 at Pittsburgh. I was there. Walking out of that stadium, I was stumbling around, not because I was drunk, but because I literally couldn't feel the bottoms of my feet. This game is going to come down to just a very short list of things when it's that cold. And on one side, you've got people that can't catch the ball for the Chiefs. I'm sorry, Chiefs fans, your receivers simply have dropped more passes than anyone in the NFL this year, and especially in big moments too, it seems like. So this negative 30-degree wind chill is going to make it that much harder to catch passes. Dolphins offense has not looked exactly the same the last several games, honestly. Probably since the Commanders game, Commanders or second Jets game, I would say the offense looked pretty good in. But either way, teams have figured out what the Dolphins like to do, and they're taking it away. Can the Dolphins adjust against a really good Chiefs defense? That's what we're going to find out. Let's dive into the X factors for this football game. For Miami on offense, I'm going with Devon Achane. First player in NFL history with over 100 carries on the season to average 7 or more yards per carry. That's absurd. And he was dominating in the Bills-Dolphins game last weekend, and then we just quit giving him the ball. So I'm hoping that this bad weather makes it so we can't not give him the football anymore. And Devon Achane and Raheem Mostert, who will be out there, and Jeff Wilson and Chris Brooks. I want all four running backs active, and I want them all getting touches. I think if Devon Achane gets 20 to 25 touches running and passing, I think the Dolphins can win this game. I honestly do. The Dolphins have a better rushing offense and a better rushing defense than the Chiefs. It's just going to come down to execution and making sure you don't have that costly game-breaking turnover. Chiefs offensively, their X factor is very obvious. It's the best player that maybe we've ever seen play the quarterback position. It's Patrick Mahomes. While he has had kind of a down year by his standards, still threw for over 4,000 yards, about 29 touchdown passes. I don't have the exact number in front of me. I want to say it was 27 to 29 touchdown passes and about 14 interceptions. So yeah, down number statistically. But then you look at everything going on around there. I mean, he didn't have a single 1,000-yard receiver. The best guy he was probably throwing it to receiver-wise was Rashee Rice. And all we've talked about all year is how Travis Kelce has not been Travis Kelce of old. You know, he looks at just a step slower. He's not as shifty as he once was. Dolphins held him to 14 yards in this first game, so you know that we've got a plan for him. So is Patrick Mahomes going to be able to pull off some of his Mahomes magic? Is he going to be able to break containment and bust up the field for 45 yards on a run? That's going to be key, is stopping him, and that's why he's their X factor. He's their best player. He's the best player in the NFL until he retires, I think. Defensively for Miami, he was the X factor last weekend, and he had a big play with a strip sack of Josh Allen and was just bothering Allen all day. It's Christian Wilkins. Really, it's the whole defensive front line. Obviously, we've got a ton of backups in there now on the edge, But the 2, 3 guys up the middle, Christian Wilkins, Zach Sealer, Raekwon Davis, they are good to go. They've been good to go, and they need to have an impact. They've got to stop the run. Whichever team runs the ball more effectively wins this football game. That's where this is going to go. There's simply no way around it. Christian Wilkins, this is a game you earn your paycheck. I asked you to earn it last week. I'd say you did a pretty good job. I need you to do it again. Let's see something in the biggest game of the season. We need it. Defensively for Kansas City Chiefs, I'm going with, once again, his contemporary. Last week I went with Ed Oliver. This week it's Chris Jones. This is going to be a running football game. You could argue Nick Bolton is also super important for this Chiefs defense. I've got to go with their big man, Chris Jones. He can cause problems up front. He can give our center, Liam Eichenberg, all sorts of issues all day. But if we are able to kind of run it away from him, even run it at him every now and then just to keep him off guard, but he's the real problem on that Chiefs defense. He's someone you have to watch out for. He's an absolute X factor, one of their best players, one of the best players in the entire NFL. There's only 2 keys for the Dolphins to win this game, in my opinion. Maybe 3, but I'm going to stay with 2. And the first one I'm going to give you is one I've been giving at number 5 every single game.
Oh? Enough with the trick plays, Bert. Run the dang ball. Run the dang ball. Run it.
All season long, it's run the damn ball. I mean, I've said it enough already. It's going to all come down to running in this game, and how effectively the Dolphins can run the ball will decide victory. Dolphins won the first half against the Bills last weekend before falling apart in the second half. You know what the difference was? The number of times Devon Achane, Raheem Mostert, who didn't play, Jeff Wilson, running backs, touched the ball. First half, we had over 100 rushing yards, and then I don't think we ran more than 5 rushing plays in the entire second half when we had the lead. That is how you play losing football. I understand you want to go for the kill shot. I get it. You go deep on a pass when they're expecting a run. You know, they loaded the box because they think you're running. You hit them over the top. All of a sudden, you're up 2 scores. I understand, but sometimes it's not a bad thing to do what they expect. It's just not. So go ahead. Let's run the damn ball right down their throats. Keep our defense off the field. Keep them warm. And just run them down. And then defensively, the key is going to be to contain Patrick Mahomes. That's what it will come down to. We could not contain Josh Allen last weekend. We couldn't get home either. I'm going to need these new guys, Justin Houston, Bruce Irvin. We're going to need Melvin Ingram, Emmanuel Ogbah. You guys have got to set the edge. You've got to keep Mahomes in the pocket. Make him throw the football to these pass catchers who can't catch the ball, and it's a negative 30-degree weather. If you let him scramble around, if you let him get out of the pocket and force our linebackers to step up to try and counter that, he's going to burn you. That's what he does. You cannot let that happen. If there's going to be a signature moment for Mahomes, it's not going to be a deep ball touchdown pass. It's going to be a Mahomes where he's about to get sacked and he spins out of it and he breaks contain and he's up the field for 45 yards and it's just an absolute dagger. You cannot have that happen. Absolutely not. So those are my keys for a Dolphins victory. Run the ball and stop Mahomes. A lot easier said than done. I understand. But my prediction for this game, you guys know I'm obviously not, I can't pick against the Dolphins. I can't do that. I'm not going to start now. I haven't done it all year. I'm not going to start this time. It's a game I think that favors us. We're a better running team based on statistics, and we're a better run defensive team based on statistics. This should be a game that favors us. I understand Miami and cold weather is scary. Guys, it's negative 30 degrees. Nobody benefits here. There's no benefit. This isn't like you're playing in a snow game against a northeastern team. All right, you're playing in Kansas City when the weather is so cold that prolonged exposure causes frostbite. Okay, so nobody wins this. Nobody has an advantage in this weather. It sucks for everybody, and I understand why this stadium will probably be half capacity because nobody wants to be out there in this. It's like they're being told stay home if you can. It's going to be that frigidly cold. So I like the Dolphins in a low-scoring affair. I like our defense to hold up without any edge rushers. I understand. As long as we don't have Duke Riley trying to cover Isaiah Pacheco on a wheel route, which we did all day long against Baltimore, and they continually cooked him. As long as we don't fall into that trap and we just play the run and slow him down, I like our odds. I'm going Miami 17-14. We'll see you guys in the recap.